Morning, guys. I'm doing a little hiking this morning on some public ground. Kind of getting ready for turkey season to start. Got some new places I want to look at and want to check. Pretty good haul back in the back here, so I'm gonna try to get some pictures today, do a little how-to video. But you know, this is the perfect time of year if you can get these days like this where it's, you know, there's little to no wind, sunny, clear, especially if it's clear overnight. It's still early in the year, obviously, and we got a couple weeks to go, but in general, if you can get out this time of year and scout, man, I recommend that you get out here and do it. But I'm gonna go look at some big timber in the back. There's a big cedar grove with an oak ridge in the back side of this property that I've wanted to look at for a long time, but you know, during bow season, I never made it back in there. I know last year I heard birds that way, but this is a pretty popular parking lot where I parked at today. Most guys out here don't want to walk this far. I'm gonna go farther than what I've seen guys go last year. I'm gonna go check out this ridge and this big block of oaks, and maybe I'll get on a bird and take some pictures this morning, but I'm gonna cover some ground and I'll see y'all in the back. So when I come to places like Mark Twain National Forest, which is where I'm at today, I kind of take advantage of the fact that I can cover a lot of ground. I come back in here and jog, pack everything in my pack nice, bring some water. It's just one way to kind of help you cover ground. Cool way to get out before season and get a little exercise in and hike. And I like to jog, but I can get to the back of this unit here 3 times as quick. Check it out, and I can jog back out, and I'll have plenty of time this morning to go to another area and check it out. So bring a bike, jog, take advantage of the pre-season right now to get in shape for these long days. One very simple tip that everybody kind of knows, and if you don't, it's important that you learn it quick. These low spots after a rain, any of them, whether it's an old roadbed or a creek crossing or anything, keep in mind, turkeys leave tracks in this stuff, and so do people. When you're on this public ground like this, you don't want to just scout turkeys, you want to scout people. And it's still a little early here in Missouri for people to be out doing a bunch of running around. But I still like to know. I like to have a habit of looking, because I come to these places and if I see 2 or 3 separate boot tracks and it's second day of season, it gives me an idea how many guys have probably been back in here. I like to hide my tracks. I don't want people to know where I've been back here. So, maybe some guy won't be in such a big hurry tomorrow trying to beat me because he doesn't know I've already been back here. So I try to hide my tracks, watch for other people's tracks, watch for turkey tracks. It can be helpful big time, especially if you cut a track on these old roads from a turkey. It's just gives you a leg up on what's going on. I think I got a bird gobbling back over this hill, so I'm gonna go up here on top and do some glassing. I've been here before, but I want to keep going back to the back of this section, so let me go check on this bird. Make sure you bring your binos with you too when you come out on public ground. Any place you haven't ever been before. You can just see so much stuff that I'd have to walk to investigate, and I'm trying to cover as much ground as I can and explore new areas. So bring your binos, put pins. I love dropping pins on certain areas. I've got a little cedar grove in front of me that kind of blocks me from this big block of timber. So I want to know that coming in here next time if I hear a bird gobbling over this hill. It's something I'm going to put in the back of my mind that I know I can get away with coming over this ridge and getting into this next block of timber because of this cedar grove around this pond. So just drop pins on areas, label what it is just real quick, cedar grove, ridge top, roost area. You find a turkey feather on the ground, there's probably birds flying up. Look for turkey scat. But I just know that birds are going to be in this block of timber based off what I heard last year. So I just dropped a pin on my phone, on my Onyx maps, And if I've never been here before, that's gonna help me a ton come spring when opening day gets here. So drop your pins, bring your binos, cover as much ground as you can with your eyes so you don't have to cover so much with your feet. Let's keep going to the back. It's not super warm today. It's probably 30 right now. It's gonna be 45. But dang, it feels good to be back out looking for turkeys and hiking on public ground and checking these places out. It's just that time of year. I know all you guys that watch this love it as much as I do. And there's just something special about this time of year. And we're still a few weeks out until that first little bit of green starts to pop. And man, all the songbirds are here and everything's chirping, and it's starting to finally feel like spring. And it's kind of repetitive, but it feels good to finally be back out here doing this and hearing birds gobble and checking new property. It's going to be a good season. I know numbers are kind of low in parts of the state here in Missouri, but in general, there's turkeys to be had, and this public ground's full of them. You're ready to go into a new little spot here. Check this out. Just kind of opens up. A little bit more grass in here. But this back section back here, this is what I was talking about, where I'm headed. Man, there's no wind, it's quiet. This is that big oak section, that oak flat I want to look at. And it's kind of surrounded by cedars back here in the back. I think I'm going to post up here for a minute, just listen, do a little glass and see if I see any birds out on the edges. Just take my time. You know, I don't mind bumping a bird. It's not going to hurt anything. You know, a spot that's like right back here behind me. It's kind of a open prairie, but there's some single oak trees out here in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of a high spot, falls off into oak. Over here, all the way around, just falls down into oak flats. So on a good, a rainy day, especially like opening day, if it happened to be raining, or a weekend where I know there's more crowds, if it's nasty and rainy and windy and just not a good day to be out, nobody's gonna want to hike back this far. And I'm gonna put some pins up here. I see a cedar tree with an oak tree against it, and it's kind of on a high spot. And I can tell you right now, if it was a nasty rainy day, I'd go bring my blind back here and walk in with an umbrella and stay dry and get that blind up and just sit all day. Sit till 1 o'clock. Real quick while I'm here, right here behind me, here's one of those trees with that cedar against it. Be a good spot to consider a blind on a rainy day, or just in general be a good hide anyway. But more importantly, right up here in front of me where I'm going, there's a big oak tree, and it's right out in the middle, kind of on a rise, where it's visible from where I'm standing to the south, to the north, to the west, and be a great spot. There's a solo cedar tree out here middle. That would be another good spot. So just mental notes, put a pin on your map, things to remember. This field looks really good back here, and I love all this timber that it butts up against. Based off what I'm seeing, if nothing was in this field, even if I come back here like I am today, midday, birds can't see me on top of this. Everything falls off just steep enough where you can't see. That right there, that cluster, that oak tree right there, it's got little cedar trees all the way around it. That's a perfect spot, perfect little hide. Rainy day gobblers out here in this big field, walking this old roadbed. Beautiful spot. So I got a bird gobbling back in here, back of this field I just came into, and something else you want to watch for is these turkeys have worked these leaves up looking for acorns. And you can kind of tell this one's not from today, but it's still something you want to look for. Birds are working this ridge right here, probably coming off this roost back here, working the side of the ridge, going around this bowl towards this field. So it gives you kind of a good idea that there's been birds here. And sometimes you can tell based off like dew on the leaves and moisture if it was made before you got here the day of. You can tell if it was made today or yesterday, and kind of how fresh it is. We've come across some of these before that were made within 20-30 minutes of us being there, and we actually got up on turkeys, came over a ridge, and they were still working. They were working over a saddle and scratching as they went, and we were just following their scratch line. So keep an eye for it if you come across it and it looks fresh. You could be closer to turkeys than you think if they're not gobbling. These birds on this public ground sometimes just don't want to gobble a lot after they've been pressured a little bit. So scratches definitely are a good indicator of turkeys. So just be watching for those rolled leaves. I'm gonna wrap this spot up. Pretty quiet. The wind's starting to blow a little bit, and my belly's growling. So I think I'm gonna go get a little food and maybe just hit the gravel roads and do a little hiking this afternoon, see what's kind of going on. I got a couple spots that I assume are roost areas from last year that I never went and looked at, and I want to go see if I can find any feathers on the ground and check that out. So get out there, scout, check out some new areas. If you only hunt private and you want to try something different, now's a good time to get out there and play around, look at new areas, do some hiking, and you might come across a little honey hole that on a weekday you say, you know, my birds have been tough, and or you don't have a lot of property and you want somewhere else to go, but you have a hard time getting permission. Depending on where you're at, you know, there's usually public ground all over Missouri, and every other state's got public ground. And I know some states are more difficult, but get out, venture, walk, hike, listen. Just getting out and being around the birds and listening to them talk, you can learn so much on how they pattern and what they do and how they act. And especially if you hear hens talking, you know, bring a call and listen to hens and record yourself mimicking what they're doing. And man, it's a good time to practice and just be outside. So, you know, if you got time, like the video and share it. Be sure to subscribe, that's important. The Ridge Runners turkey series is about ready to start here in another few weeks, and man, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to bringing you guys some cool footage. Appreciate it. You guys have a good day.